This is a Learning Commons instructional video. This video is on a workshop that was done on Microsoft PowerPoint.
Today to learn about PowerPoint. What I'm going to do is I'm going to give a brief overview of what PowerPoint does, how to work with it, from the very basics all the way from something very simple on how to just open up PowerPoint. We're going to get into it. I'll show you all the different menus, the ribbon, the functionality of the application. So since everybody has a computer, the first thing that I want you to do is, if you want to pay attention to my the content screen, so wherever you're located there should be a LCD projector or a screen. If you can see down in the bottom, this is called your office button, and I want everybody to click that to start. And what's going to end up happening is it's going to ask you, you turn me on how your computers are set up. It's going to give you a list of all the programs that are available. What Microsoft is, PowerPoint, it's a presenting software. So what you can do with that is you can create engaging presentations. A lot of people in the business industry use this, educators use it, students use it. It's a great way to get your point across, add some graphics, add some text. It helps the presenter with information so they understand where they're at in a presentation. One rule of thumb, a lot of educators and business of industry, they don't want you to put every single piece of verbiage, anything that you're going to speak, onto your PowerPoint presentation. So what you're going to end up doing is just putting key points, okay? So it's going to be a supplement to what you're actually going to talk about with your audience. So down below, when I clicked on the Office button there, you can see I have a lot of different things on my PC, but the one that you want to go to is Microsoft Office. Once you go to Microsoft Office, then you're going to go to PowerPoint 2010. By default, what I mean by the word default is when an application arises, it generally gives you a blank page. In Word, it gives you a blank page, and PowerPoint gives you a blank slide. So what you're going to do is you're building slides to create your presentation. So what you're going to do is you have choices. You can either build your slide with your background, all your different fonts and your transitions on your own, or you can use a designer theme, okay? One of the main components of working with any Microsoft Office application is the File tab here, and this is called your Backstage View. If you see this, when you click on it, all your main functionalities of the application is located here. So you can see the save as, the open, the close. If you're going to print your slideshow, a lot of people like to print their slideshow so they know what they're talking about, okay? You can print in many different options, okay? A lot of, say as an example, we have nurses that come into WITC. They need to print their 50-slide CHA presentation. Well, there's an option where you can print 6 to 9 slides per page. So you can kind of customize what you want to do with your presentation. You can send it via email, and all the properties are located in the Backstage View. I'll get into saving later on. On the main Home tab, when you first start, you can see that there's your slide here, okay? Right here is your slide, and you can see this box right here. This is where people have difficulty understanding how to navigate through PowerPoint. Once you actually understand the concepts of the text boxes, how to move all your graphics, and also put in text and also put in pictures and clip art, you have it made. That's the main thing that you need to know, is how to actually work your mouse and navigate amongst the slides. So, as a little fun thing that we're going to do, since everybody's on the same page, what I want everybody to do is I want you just to click on the line it says click to add title, okay? Once you do that, you can see that another tab has formed on the top there. You can see it's called a Format tab. What that does is basically when you're working with a text box, Or if you're working with a graphic, it has its own unique format tab. Okay, so each of them have a different one when you're working with a certain thing. Now, you can see inside your text box, it says click to add title. So if you want to click inside it, you're going to get a blinking cursing light, or line, excuse me. That line enables you to basically enter in any text you would like. So I'm going to put introduction to PowerPoint. Okay, so once that title is in there, you can highlight it by holding down your left mouse button. Okay, you can highlight it. And you can do different things to it with your font menu here. You can see that has a little drop-down arrow. Each of these little groupings, these quadrants within the ribbon, have more options with this little tiny arrow that points downward. Which that does is gives you a different view. It basically gives you the same options in a different view. So like if I click this drop-down arrow as an example in the font tab, you can see that you could do different things to it. Okay? Okay, it's hard for me. I want to be able to walk over to the screen. You'll just have to watch on the screen, okay? Because I'm just going to use my mouse. The first one is bold, italicize. This is how to underline a particular your font, shadow, strike through. This is how you change the color of your font. Okay, so you could do that in this menu here, and you can also do it in the ribbon up above. Now, the first thing that you have to do is remember to back up. You really do have to highlight it before you can do anything to it. So just to practice, why don't you type something in your text box? And why don't we just, first of all, start changing the size of it. The increase font size, you can click on that and it'll increase your font and it'll decrease your font, okay? One thing to keep in mind, whenever you're working in PowerPoint, you can move your text box or the graphics, anything that you have within your slide, anywhere on the page, anywhere on your slide, okay? The way that you do that is you click on the slide or on the dash line here, and it turns solid. Okay, you're going to hold your left mouse button down, and you're able to drag it anywhere on the page. You see how my box is moving around? So now I could bring it up farther into my show. So again, what you're going to do is once I clicked inside the box, now that blinking cursor is going. Okay. But now what you're going to do is you're going to click on the line so it's solid, hold your left mouse button down, and then you can move your text box anywhere. This is really important for design if you're going to build it on your own. Okay? This is how you create your slide and create your presentation on your own. Do you need help, Peggy? Okay, where are you at? Yep, just click on the line. Yep, it moves. Basically, when you create a text box, it creates an area where you can put your text in, but you still can manipulate it. You can still do things to it. You can move it and do things like that. Okay? Now, say for instance, if you, like, there's two boxes here, okay? By default, they put both the boxes in. Say if you didn't want it. You didn't want this text box right here. All you would have to do is click on it twice so the line is solid and press your delete button and it removes it. Okay? So now that text box is now gone.
How did you do that? Mine won't go away.
Okay? I'm going to insert a text box so you can see me delete one. So there's my text box. It's at a solid line. What I'm going to do is I'm going to click on the line. I'm going to press the delete button and it's going to remove it. So all you basically have to do is click the delete, or click the line and then press delete.
It's not doing it.
To go back to our introduction of PowerPoint title, now say if I want to make this bold, this introduction, okay? I'm going to highlight the text and I'm going to press the B to make it bold. So this is really helpful when you're working with, when you're first starting a presentation, so you can add a little depth to your text.
Now I got. Okay, so what do I get?
Now say for instance if you want to center this is your title page, okay, and you want to center this on your first slide. In order to make sure that this is going to be centered, what you need to do is see these little sizing handles here. you need to stretch the sizing handles out all the way to the very end of your slide so you know the text box is going to be centered properly. As you can see in the paragraph grouping here, you can see that you have alignment. You can add alignment to your text. The first one is you're going to align the text to the left. So that's going to bring your text all the way over to the left-hand side of your page. Generally, most people like it centered, so you're going to, all you'd have to do is press the center button. And say if you're working with certain columns and you want to right align, go right ahead. You can do it by pressing that button. And I believe this is justify. So this would, let's see, what does that do? I generally never use it. So aligns text both left and right margins, adding extra space between words if necessary. So basically, I use these first two. I use the left and I use the center. A lot of presentations have bullet points, and a lot of assignments that you're going to have to do in PowerPoint, you're going to have to create a bullet. So in order to do that, the first thing that you're going to do is whenever you want to put text into the PowerPoint, excuse me, you're going to click on the insert button because you're putting something in it, okay? No matter what you're doing in PowerPoint, if you're going to put pictures in your PowerPoint, if you're going to put clip art in your PowerPoint, or a shape, a hyperlink, an action button, anything, that you're always going to go to the insert tab. Just picture taking clothes out of your, or taking clothes out of your closet and putting it in your suitcase. You're inserting it in, okay? So the first thing you're going to do is we're going to, let's say we're going to put our text box in so we can do our bullets. So I'm going to click on the text box. Can you see how it's highlighted? It's highlighted for a reason. That means that that is active. So whatever is active in the ribbon, that's the function that you're going to be able to do within your slide. Okay? So I clicked on my text box. Now you have this little cursor. See this little guy right here with the line and the bottom cross? Okay? That means that that's active. You're ready to make a box. So you're going to hold your left mouse button down. Now it's going to turn into some crosshairs because the first thing you're going to do is you're going to create the size of your text box. So determining on the amount of content or text you're going to put in your slide, that'll determine of how big of a box you should create. If you screw up, you feel like, oh boy, I don't have enough, I have too big of a box or too small of a box or that type of thing, don't be afraid. Your text box can grow, and you can always readjust it as you go. So I'm still holding down my mouse, my left mouse button, and I click and I drag it. And there's my box, okay? So now I'm going to put Introduction to PowerPoint. The bullet points is, let's start with 1. Here's your bullets. It's a dot and a little line on your ribbon. And then right next to it, if you wanted numbers, you can do that too. So the first one, I'm just going to use a bullet. If you want to be fancy and choose the type of bullet you want, all you have to do is click the little drop-down arrow. Now you can see that you have some activity here. You have all the different types of bullets you'd like to pick. I generally like a little check mark. So I'm going to click that one to make that one active. As you can see, after I clicked that, it actually made that active, and it put the little bullet in, ghosted. So now you're ready to add your first thought. And I'm going to say Introduction to PowerPoint. First of all, we will have fun learning PowerPoint. And then if you want to enter in another bullet, it's automatically going to enter it in. If you wanted to have a space in between, you want a double space, if you just hit enter again, the bullet will just keep going down. It doesn't have like an auto format. Has anybody ever worked with Word and had a lot of difficulties with auto formatting? One nice thing about PowerPoint, it lets you kind of play around in your slide and manipulate text, bullets, shapes so much easier than Word. I generally never use Word on creating posters or anything. I use PowerPoint. So that's another good positive thing why to use PowerPoint. So now I'm going to enter in my other bullets so you can see that what it's like to have 2 bullets in there. We're going to learn the basics about the ribbon. Okay? Now, say I'm done with this, okay? Say, okay, this doesn't look really good. Okay, I don't have it centered. I don't have the text large enough so people can see it. How would I go about to raise the text? How would I get it bigger? Anybody can answer. Yes. Peggy here in New Richmond said, highlight the text and press the large A. Does everybody else agree?
Yes.
Okay.
Bryce Lake?
I'm still trying to get a second check mark. It won't, and when I do it, my whole screen goes blank.
It goes blank?
Yeah, and I had to hit undo to go back, so we will have a fun PowerPoint. Now how do I get the second check mark in there?
Okay. Within your text box, okay, after you enter your first line, what I want you to do is make sure that up above here, look at my screen, make sure that this is highlighted right here. Because that could be your problem. It could have unchecked by accident. So just make sure that that's checked.
It is.
Okay? Hit enter and then enter in the text. Try that.
Okay, and it just deleted the first. It just deleted the top line.
Okay, what you would have to do is then you'd have to put your cursor right before the first letter of that sentence and hit the bullet button. Try that. I wish I could be there with you.
I know.
So, is this what it looks like for you? Like that? Is that what your
No, my
screen looks
top
like?
line disappeared.
The whole
When
top
I hit
line.
the whole top line disappeared when I hit enter.
Oh, that I'm not sure about. Try retyping it in. Try hitting the bullet button first. Something must have happened there. Try
Okay.
hitting the bullet button and then retyping your sentence, then hit enter and then hit another and then type another sentence. Try that.
All right.
So, back to what we were talking about before, to make this a little more engaging. So now what we want to do is we're going to highlight this text, okay? And we want to make it bigger, we want to make it bold. And we might want to change the actual font type. So the first thing we're going to do is let's go and let's make it a little bit bigger so people can see it. So I hit the large A to make the font bigger. This will tell you the size of the font. I want to tell you one point. Whenever I help people with PowerPoints, one pet peeve of mine is when the fonts change from slide to slide to slide, or the sizing isn't the same with your heading and your subheadings. So make sure that if you got, say, 5 slides, all your subheadings are font 32. Keep them font 32. Don't let one drop down to 28, because when you're showing your final product, it doesn't look quite professional. Okay? So I raised that up, and to change the font, the one nice thing about PowerPoint is you can preview a lot of different, anything that you do to your slide, as long as you have it active and highlighted. So you can see here that I can change and you can see all the different fonts. So that's kind of neat. So I'm going to choose, I'll choose this one here, Bakersville, Oldface, for my second part. You can see that it only changed the font that I had highlighted. And I'm going to change the color. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click back into the text box. I'm going to highlight the content, or the text. Then I'm going to go into the little drop-down arrow with the A with the color underneath. And then that's when you can see that you can choose from all different colors. I'm going to choose kind of a burgundy color, just to add a little bit of excitement. Any questions on basic formatting of text? Besides, we had the one issue with losing the sentence. Peggy, you up to speed with that? You okay with it so far? Good. Okay. So now, say for instance, this is our first slide, but you know what? We're still not happy with it because we need a little bit more excitement. We want to put a picture in here of some sort. Okay? So now the first thing that we're going to do is, remember, we're going to put something in. We're putting something in our suitcase. We're putting something into our slideshow. So now we're going to click the insert button. As you can see, there's many things that you can put in here. Okay? You can put a picture. If you had a picture, say for instance you were doing a birthday party and you wanted to create a slideshow for your birthday party, you could save your files onto your jump drive, and we could pull that file right from your jump drive or from your H drive if you're a student. If you're looking for something that's already currently available, you can actually you can create something or pull a piece of clip art, and we're going to do that in a little bit. If you're wanting something off the web, that's what the screenshot is. Okay? You can create a screenshot with PowerPoint, or you can actually use the snipping tool. Has anybody ever used the snipping tool? No? Okay, that's an application that is on all the computers at WITC. It's really a neat thing. You can capture bits and pieces of web pages or anything that's on your screen. So say for instance you had a screensaver of your dog and somehow the file got corrupted, you can't get that picture of your dog, but as long as it's on your computer, we could snip it and take it. So that's kind of cool. You can create a photo album with a set of pictures. So you can do a slideshow right from a photo album, and it'll just create a slideshow right from that. Say for instance you want to put shapes in your slideshow. If you click on the little drop down arrow, look at all the different shapes you can use. I use a lot of arrows because if I'm showing something that is, say for instance, you guys can see a little better. Say if I'm showing a certain application to students and I want them to focus on one particular piece on my presentation, I could create a screenshot, I can import it in on my slideshow, and then I can have arrows animated. You can do all that types of things with PowerPoint. Say I'm going to put a shape in here right now. All you would have to do, it's no different than creating a text box, okay? So the first thing, I'm going to create an arrow. So I'm going to pick the up arrow. Again, if you look on my desktop, you can see that it's a little cross. What you're going to do to build your arrow is you're going to actually use your left mouse button, hold it down. You see how it got thicker? That means that it's ready to draw. So all you're going to do is, if you're using a regular mouse, is hold your left mouse button down. If you're using a laptop like I am, I'm just going to use my finger and pull out my arrow and let it go. Okay, you can see there's many different things you can do with this arrow, because you can make the arrow fatter, skinnier, you can turn the arrow, you can make it longer, all by these little dots. If you click the little dot and you pull it down, it's going to extend your arrow. The little green dot, it doesn't matter what you're working with. If you're working with a picture, if you're working with clip art, or if you're working with an arrow. The little green dot on the very top will allow you to pivot it or rotate it on your screen. So if you really wanted to customize it and get it just at a certain angle, that's the little tool you're going to use on your shape. So you're going to hold your left mouse button down. You can see now from the little circular icon, it's going to turn into 4 little arrows. And then you can just either go left or right, and you can see your arrow and you can actually watch it move. And I like to do that a lot because I like everything just so. So that's how you put a shape in. By default, whenever you put a shape in, it always comes out blue. I'm not sure why, but it does. So your question probably is, okay, I don't want a blue arrow. I want a red arrow. So what you're going to do is you're going to click on the arrow. So if everybody takes your left mouse button, if you have a shape, I don't care what kind of shape it is, if you click on your shape, now right click on it. And this is the easiest way to change your arrow, the color. Once you right click, now the sub menu is going to come up and it's going to give you different options. On the very bottom you're going to see it says format shape. Now what you're going to do is you're going to click on format shape and it's going to give you all different things that you can do with it. You can change the color, you can add shadow, all that types of things. We can get into that further some other day, but the main thing that you want to do is probably change the color. So again, you're going to look down here, it says color, and since the arrow, you want a solid color, that means that this little dot needs to be by solid fill. There's gradient fill, there's picture fill, there's pattern, I mean, the list goes on. I want a red arrow, so I'm going to click on this little paint can, and I'm going to go down to the red block down here, and I'm going to press that, and then I'm going to click close. Now my arrow changed color. So now it matches my font on my show. And if I'm happy with the placement with that, now I can click outside of the actual slide, and now that's the way it's going to look. Okay, any questions on that so far? Any questions, District? Rice Lake or Superior, anybody?
No.
We're okay.
Okay. Oh, good, good. Just stop me if you have any questions, okay? Okay, so now we put a shape in, we put bullets in, we moved around the font, we changed the size. Now, say for instance, if we want to put some clip art in, we want to add a little pizzazz, we should say, to the slideshow. So I'm going to click on clip art, and now it's going to bring up another screen, okay? It's going to bring up a little smaller screen off to your side here, and you can see that it's going to say search for. First thing that's going to do is going to prompt you what are you looking for? Okay, are you looking for an educational piece? Are you looking for, you know, a puppy, a child? Anything that, you know, you're creating your presentation on. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to do education, and I'm going to click go. And it gave me 3, but I was more than certain that there was more. If you click down below here, it says results should be illustrations, all these others. You can see that you want to get all of them because illustrations and photography or photographs are different than one another, and you want to make sure that you can get the most out of your search. So I'm going to put college. See if I can get something different. Nope. I'm surprised. Computers. There, I got some more. Okay, so now I'm going to look through these, and I'm going to pick one. This one looks pretty good. So if I want to put this in my show, what I'm going to do is I'm going to double click on it. See how I just plopped it right in? It plopped it right into the middle. Now you're saying, okay, now I don't want it there. How do I get it around, you know, move it around? Just like what we did before with the text boxes. You see how that icon from when it was over here in the white space and now it switched over into the little box, your clip art, see how it changed? You want to hold your left mouse button down and then drag it to the area that you want it to go. No different than what you were doing before with your text. Say you want it bigger. Okay, in order not to distort the photo or the picture, you always want to drag it to make it larger diagonally. You don't want to do it horizontally and vertically because it'll distort it and it won't look right. So what you're going to do is you're going to click on the actual picture. You're going to go down to the lower corner here where now the icon changed. It's now 2 arrows. You're going to hold your left mouse button down, as you can see it changed into a cross. And now just click and drag and you can make it bigger. Just like that. Now to go back to what I was talking about before, remember what I said when we want to do something to text or pictures or shapes, it has its own unique format tab. You can see when I'm in the text box, you see on the top there under format how it says drawing tools? That's for text, okay? Now if I click down below here on the picture, it turns into picture tools. In order to get that format tab active, is you're going to double click on the actual picture. Now this is going to give us many options to do different things with this picture. Kind of some cool things. The first thing you can do is you can adjust. You can adjust the photo. It doesn't have the bells and whistles like Photoshop, but if you feel that it's a little dark and you want to try to adjust it, you can do that. You can play around with it. If you play around with it with all these different things that you can do, you can see here it has its own artistic effects. So I mean you can do different things. Do you see down on the bottom when I'm scrolling over the top, just like with the text before, now with this you can see your changes right as it's happening. And if you don't want anything in this menu, all you have to do is just click out of it. In the middle here, I use this almost daily, this picture styles. The reason why is I just feel like when I create a presentation, I feel that when you add a little bit of effects to your photos, it makes them pop in your presentation. And right here is, as long as you have your picture active, you can see when I'm scrolling over the top of it, see how it's changing the photo and it's adding either a border to it, or this is my favorite one. I use this every time I create a presentation. It's the drop shadow rectangle. You see how it makes it kind of pop off the screen? If you click on that, now it actually added that effect to your photo or clip art. And I just think that it really adds a lot to your presentation. So to go back, I'm going to go through that step one more time. If you double click on the picture, your format tab comes up. Now you can do a whole bunch of different things to it. You can adjust it by, color. You can do different things, your artistic effects, that type of thing, or your picture styles. And I use, like I said before, I use picture styles quite frequently. So there's an example of after you change it. Let's see. And if you take a PowerPoint class, you'll learn a lot more about your picture layout and all the different effects you can do, because there's many different options here. And you can see just by going under picture effects, you can see all the different things you can do with it. And if you take a PowerPoint class, they'll really get in depth with that and have you create presentations using all these techniques. If you want to arrange your photo, or if you want to actually adjust the size if you're a number person, or you have a number that you need to actually put in, some instructors require a photo to be a certain size. This is how you would know if it was a certain size or not. You could just type in the height and the width here. But you just have to make sure that your picture is active. The main thing working with PowerPoint is as long as you have your text box active or your picture or your shape or your clip art, you can do anything you want with it, because that little piece of the pie is what you're going to be working with. Okay? Does that make sense? It's kind of like you're building this show. You're putting all the different pieces in. One suggestion I give to students is when you're creating a PowerPoint, write it out on paper. Write out the content instead of trying to build it on the actual computer. That helps people a lot if you can actually have all the information that you want to put in it ready. Think of a theme. Think about what colors you want to use, what type of look you want. That really helps. Okay, so now we have our first slide here, and now we want to add another slide. So now we have to add a slide to our show, because we're gonna we have 20 minutes. We can add 3 slides. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to go up to new slide. So you're going to click on new slide, you're going to click on the drop down arrow, and now it's going to give you an option. It's going to give you, it's going to have templates. It's going to have slides that are already designed. You can see the first one is a title slide. The second one is a title and content. The reason why it's called content is because each little intricate icon that's inside the slide does something. So like if you wanted to put a chart in this little tiny box right here, I'm going to click on this just so you can see what it looks like. Right here, we could put, let's put Chapter 2 to PowerPoint. Okay, and I'm going to bold this, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to highlight the text, I'm going to click on the bold, and I'm going to increase the font by 2. Down below you can see it already has a pre-design to it. This is something that we didn't build on our own. The other slide we built on our own. We added our own text box, we added our own bullets and such. This one already has it included. It also has included these little icons. So basically if you wanted to put a picture right here, you'd click on the icon, it's going to bring you right to your picture library. Determining on where your picture is located on your computer, that's where you're going to have to draw from. So remember, if you don't want to use a picture on the picture library, then you're going to have to go to the appropriate location where your file is located. So an example would be, if I have my jump drive plugged in, then you would choose your E or F drive. Does everybody have a jump drive? Okay, generally you would store your photos there. But say if we're just going to use this cute koala bear, I'm just going to click on him for just an example. I know this is about PowerPoint, but we'll put him in there for fun. And we'll click on insert, and now they're going to put the koala bear in. The koala bear goes right into the box. So now you have nowhere to type because you put the box, you put the actual picture inside that box. Say if you wanted to add text, okay? So now you want to put something above the koala bear. What you're going to do is you're going to click on the sizing handles because you want to make your koala bear a little bit smaller so you can actually get information in. But now since we use that pre-existing box, you're going to have to create another text box, okay? Just like what we did before. And the way that you're going to do that is, what are we going to do? We're going to go to insert because we're going to insert something back into the slideshow. Then we're going to click on text box. Once you click on text box, that little icon with the small little cross will show up. And now I'm going to click and drag it bigger. And there it is. So now I can put learning about pictures. Alright, now that doesn't look really good because it's kind of off to the side there, so now we want to center it. So now we're just going to press the center button, and now your text went to the center. I'm going to highlight this text, just like so, and then I'm going to make it a little bit bigger so people can see it.
Highlight.
Another effect that really looks nice on a slideshow, I think, is the shadow effect. Kind of brings your font and it makes it pop on your screen. So I use that quite frequently too. Now say if I want to add a little effects to the koala bear. So I'm going to double click on him. And again, I'm going to go to picture styles. And I'm going to put the 3D effect on it. So that made him come out a little bit. Okay, I'm just going to touch on a couple other things because we got about 15 more minutes and I want to make sure that you understand other parts of the ribbon too. That's basic formatting, okay? There's a lot of things you can do with PowerPoint. You know, this is a whole class. So this is just touching on just a little bit of it.
I am ready to go.
If you take a class, your instructor is going to really get in depth with it and you're going to learn all the bells and whistles. But I hope this will help you understand the basic concepts just so you can navigate and get around. So when you go to class, you understand how to move a text box or add text to a text box.
Yeah, I am ready. I was waiting for you guys to
Okay.
I can hear you.
Well, I think
So,
you're downstairs.
after the insert tab,
this girl cooking on the
there's a design tab, okay? Say if you're starting your presentation and you don't want to create everything on your own. You want to add a theme. Okay, that's where you would do this at, is your themes right here. If you click on this drop down arrow, it says more, That's one nice thing about all MS Office applications is if you just hover over the top of something, it'll tell you what it is. So you can read more about it. You don't need to be in a panic navigating around, okay? So if I hover around the tops of these different themes, you can see down below my slide changing. Now say for instance I don't want anything too drastic, but I want to add a little something for, add a little color. I'm going to pick this one right here, concourse. So as long as I click that, now my entire show is gonna change to concourse. Yes?
Wow. Where'd you find that?
Why is somebody's hand over that? So that's your themes, okay? And like I said before, there's a lot of different things that you can do with your themes. Your page setup and your slide orientation, you can change it from portrait to landscape. So if you wanted to create a poster or signage, you can do that in PowerPoint. I already created mine in landscape, so it did distort it. So you want to make sure that you are working with your slide in the actual orientation that it should be, because it could change on you if you decided you didn't like it.
They haven't shut up.
Places, you know, you get one of those
Themes, yeah.
you can't move the stuff around.
You can move the stuff around, but it might just change the formatting that you created originally.
I can't move the words down a little because it's kind of overlapping each other.
Then the one way that you would have to do that, this is a good question from New Richmond. She said that she couldn't move her top text box past the bottom text box. The reason why is you have to work bottom up. So you'd have to move your bottom text box first down, and then your other text box down. Yeah. Yes. I'll come over right when I'm done, and we'll look at that quick, okay? Then we have transitions, okay? There's lots of fun things that you can do with transitions. The rule of thumb for professionally is you should only use 2 transitions, okay? So if you're creating a graduation show or a birthday party or something, you could do anything you want. But to actually put in a transition, that'll actually, when you have your first slide, your second slide, it will give you something like animation in between, okay? So if I click on this drop down arrow right here where it says more, it's going to give you a whole bunch of different types of transitions. The first one I'm going to pick is vortex, and it always gives you a preview.
Come on, Angie, let's go.
So that's going to be the first thing that your audience is going to see. But anyways, once you hit F5, that makes your PowerPoint active. Then if you hit enter, then it'll bring you to your other slide. If you want to get back to your working environment, then you would hit the escape button. Okay? So the first one I chose was vortex, and now the second slide I want to choose another one. So I'm going to hit the more button, and I'm going to just choose some fun ones. So I'm going to choose glitter for my next one. And as you can see, again, you can preview that. So that's how you put some bells and whistles from your inner, what's the word I want to say, in between your slides.
So the F5, and you have like 10 slides, you can watch the whole slideshow then?
Yes.
The F5?
Yes. Yep. Another way of watching your slideshow is if you go down below here, you can see the slideshow button, okay? And also on your toolbar up here, you can see that there's a slideshow menu. So actually you could show your show from the beginning, from the current slide. You could do a custom slideshow. And like I said, if you took a class in this, you would really get in depth on all the different customizations that you can do with this. I mean, you can do a lot. You can have it run automatically. Yeah, it's a really neat program. I love it. Did everybody get some transitions in their show? Okay, so now another thing that you can do too is animations. So say for instance, if I select the arrow, okay, or I'm going to back up. I'm actually going to choose the title.
I was just like, why are you
Animations, basically, just like transitions. Okay, sorry about that.
I'm leaving.
Okay, so now when we're working with animations, just like what we did before is how we had transitions in between each of the slides, now we're going to actually animate the actual text. So we can animate within your slide. So the first thing I'm going to do as an example is I'm going to choose Introduction to PowerPoint. And say, for instance, I want this to fly in first, okay? So when I show my show, that's the first thing that's going to come up. So you're breaking up your text. Everything at once won't come up. What's going to end up happening is you're going to have to prompt it. You're going to have to hit the enter, and then each individual piece will come up on your slideshow, and I'm going to show you how that works. So the first one I chose, I highlighted it, and I chose fly in, okay? So that you can see the little number 1 over here. So now I'm going to choose, the second one is I want each bullet to come up by itself. And the way that I would do that is I'm going to click inside my text box. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to highlight the sentence that I want to be animated. And then now I'm going to choose float in for something different. Okay? And then I'm going to choose my third animation, which is learn the basics about the ribbon. So now I'm going to click float in again. And then say I want to have this arrow scoot this way. There's a way that you can do that. I'm going to show you something that's a little more advanced. Let's see, a motion path. I'm just going to show you this just for fun. Let's see. I'm going to choose right because I want it to go right. So now when I show my actual slideshow, I'm going to hit F5. I'm going to hit enter. First thing will come up is your introduction to PowerPoint. The next one will be your text that you want to talk about next. The third point. And then once you hit the button, then your animation of your arrow. So I'm going to go to slide 2 and I'm going to go over it one more time. This is our working environment right now, okay? We're not in the actual show. So the first thing that I want my audience to see is your Chapter 2 PowerPoint. So I'm going to click on the text box. You have to highlight your actual text. And then you choose the effect that you want for animation. So I will choose, this is a really neat one, the grow and shrink. And maybe that's not the one I like. There's one that I really like. I'll just do the little teeter. You can see though that you could choose from all these different ones that are available. So that's number 1. You can see that's going to be first to show on your slideshow. Now I want the picture. I don't want the text yet. I want the picture to come in second. So now I'm going to choose the picture. And I want him to come in as a grow and turn. This is the one that I like. Okay? So now I'm going to choose the text on top of the picture by clicking on the text and highlighting the text. And then I'm going to have that fly in. So, when I actually show it, I'm going to hit F5, I'm going to hit enter, enter, I'm still hitting enter to make it go one by one. There's your transition, there's your chapter 2, there it animated, it moved back and forth. Here comes your photo, and here comes the title on top of your photo. What do you guys think? Did that help? Good. That's a see what I'm. Yeah, it helped you just to get. Yeah, exactly. Just to get moving with it a little bit. What do you think, gang, remotely?
We're having a good time in Ashland.
You are?
Oh,
That's what I
yeah.
like to hear. All
It's a
right.
blast. I like it.
Good. Oh, we have a really good question here in New Richmond is how do you erase something you don't want? Okay, say I didn't want the koala bear anymore. What I'm going to do is I'm going to click on him, and as simple as that, you hit the delete button, and there he's gone. To go back, I want to add a new one. I'm going to click Insert Picture, and I'll pick the penguins. You select the photo you want, you click Insert, and it sticks it right back in, but it's not formatted to what you had before. So you want to make sure that you have your picture active to be able to format it. Okay? If you right-click on your white space in your background, say if you want to add some color, you can always go to Format Background, and you can always use your paint can, and you can add a little color. So say I want to use this turquoise, and apply to all, excuse me, and it'll apply everything to all your slides. So that really helps if you want to add just a little more pizzazz to the actual theme. So you're not limited to just what the theme has given you. So if you right-click in the white space, then you go Format Background, then you can select some different colors. And you can get into some gradient, and you can do different things where you can actually have yellow coming from the left-hand corner bleeding into orange, if you'd like. You can get really in-depth with this. There's also capabilities if you take a PowerPoint class, you can actually take pieces out of a picture. So say like the penguins, we can cut chunks of it out. So if you only wanted one penguin, if you're good with a mouse, you could take the other two penguins out. Something similar to Photoshop, but not as intense. Any questions before we say goodbye? Okay. Well, that's good. I hope this helped.
Yes, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. I wish I could have been with all of you one-on-one. We could have really had fun. But this was fun too.
It's a good start.
So keep working hard, and you should be ready to go into a PowerPoint class and you'll have the understanding of the application a little bit. So I thank you very much for your time, and go to your local ETC for any help that you need.
For more information, you can stop into the Education Technology Center on your campus.